They're killing record numbers of Christians in Nigeria. And they have other countries very bad also. You know that part of the world, very bad. They're killing the Christians and killing them in very large numbers. We're not going to allow that to happen.
The question now, how involved should the United States get in another foreign conflict? Joining us now for more, the former Vice President of the United States and author of the book, What Conservatives Believe. Mike Pence, thanks for being back with us. Good to see you.
You bet, Rob. Thanks for having me on.
So Pete Hegseth tweeted yesterday that the Department of War is preparing for action in Nigeria. Do we have a moral responsibility to stop what's happening over there? And should that involve American troops on the ground if necessary?
Well, the American people have always stood for religious freedom, not only our own, but around the world. But what's happening in Nigeria is really a genocide, Rob. You described it very well, and I commended the president for making it clear to the government of Nigeria that we'll not tolerate the mass slaughter of Christians. Up 200 Christians were slaughtered in June of this year. Maybe 60,000 Christians have been murdered by Boko Haram and other terrorist organizations in the northern part of Nigeria since 2009. Our administration listed Nigeria as a country of particular concern. For some reason, the Biden administration changed that status. I greatly welcome President Trump's decision to restore that status and also make it very clear that we'll not tolerate the wholesale murder of Christians without the appropriate American response.
Can I ask you, Mr. Vice President, Donald Trump has been back in the White House for just under 10 months. How do you think he's doing?
Well, I think the president's been off to a very strong start in a whole range of areas. He ended the worst border crisis in American history. He's secured our southern border. He extended those Trump-Pence tax cuts in their entirety, Rob, which lays a foundation for ongoing prosperity. And in a very real sense, he did what no previous president was willing to do, and that was use military force against Iran. Took down their nuclear capability and set the stage for the peace deal that caused and resulted in the peace in Israel that we're enjoying to this very moment. So I give him high marks on all those issues. The reason I wrote What Conservatives Believe that comes out next year is because I honestly think that we're going into a time where some in the administration, some aspects of the president's agenda, and many on the new right, as they like to refer to themselves, are walking away from the timeless conservative principles that really defined our party from the days of Ronald Reagan all the way through the Trump-Pence administration. And, our administration governed on American leadership in the world. You have voices in and around this president now that want America to pull back, that articulate an isolationist view, whether it be
Mr. Vice President,
in Western Europe or even in regards to our support for Israel. Of course, the tariff policies alone, Rob, we negotiated the largest trade deal in history with the USMCA. We used tariffs to lower trade barriers.
Yeah.
And the president's decision that goes before the Supreme Court this week to impose unilateral tariffs on friend and foe alike represents a real departure on our free market and free trade tradition. So that's why I wrote What Conservatives Believe, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that debate over the future of our party.
Mr. Vice President, those departures are exactly what the country needs. We'll see what happens with the Supreme Court in those tariffs. I just wondering if you could be specific. Do you support, let's say, mass deportations, taking out drug boats, deploying the National Guard to round up and deport illegal aliens? Do you support those moves by the administration?
Well, I've strongly supported internal enforcement. And remember, during our years in the White House, we essentially ended illegal immigration and asylum abuse at our southern border. And I was pleased that the president put those same policies back into effect. But, Rob, look, I respect your opinion on that. My purpose in writing What Conservatives Believe is just to point out that as our party embraces more isolationist views, as our party kind of moves away from a belief in free trade, even as some in our party want to marginalize a commitment to the right to life, that those simply aren't the policies that really carried our party to success, but also carried our country to great prosperity. But there'll be plenty of time to debate it on this network and elsewhere over the next 3 years. But on the first point that I made, Rob, I want to assure your viewers, I think the president's kept his promises on securing the border, on extending those tax cuts, and most importantly, on providing American leadership in the Middle East and in the world.
Mr. Vice President, two quick ones if I could. How good a job would JD Vance do as president if he were elected?
Well, I pray for JD Vance and his wife as often as I pray for the president and Melania, and I wish him well. It is my hope as an American that our president will continue to prosper in that role. But the selection of a vice president is a deeply intimate one. I was honored to serve in that role, and I would just defer to the man the American people reelected to the White House in his judgment about his vice president's capabilities, and we'll continue to pray that should history call, that J.D. Vance would be ready, just as I always sought to be.
And is your book, What Conservatives Believe, is this sort of the first step? I know it's early, but have you given up on possibly running again?
Well, you know, I don't know what the future holds for me and my family, but I know who holds the future. The passion of my life has been the conservative movement, Rob. I joined the Republican Party when President Reagan was in the White House, and my entire career has been animated by a commitment to a strong defense, limited government, fiscal responsibility, traditional values, and the right to life. And wherever the future leads us, I promise you I'm going to continue to be a champion, a happy warrior, and a cheerful advocate of that broad mainstream conservative agenda, because I think it's right for the Republican Party, but more important than that, I think it's right for the future of America.
Vice President Mike Pence, nice to see you again. Thanks for being on with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.